Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for kind of a unique video this time. Originally, I thought about just recording this as an unlisted private video for support, but I also thought, let's release this publicly because I would like to actually get your guys' opinions. If you have an iPhone, different iPhone models, if you are experiencing anything similarly, I'm going to go through a couple of different magnifier bugs, potential bugs, if I can get the devices to reproduce these bugs. I've been fighting variations of these for a while now, and I feel like I've made some headway, and I recently made a different discovery with my personal iPhone 16 Pro Max, and after I installed the iOS 18.6 Beta 2. So I've talked about this in a couple of other channel update videos, but what I have up on my screen, I have two iPhones mirrored to my computer. On the left is my personal iPhone 16 Pro Max. On the right-hand side is my work iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, I'm already in the Magnifier app because if I go into the Magnifier app, it will prevent the screen from locking. Because for security reasons, like they have us lock our screen very quickly, and sometimes that gets really messed up when I try to mirror to my computer. So I've been using the Magnifier app for years now. I've covered other Magnifier apps in the past, several years ago, things like Over 40 Plus, and I believe there's one called Vision Assist, that kind of a thing. But, especially, I forget what version it was, but iOS a few years ago really improved their Magnifier app. And kind of ever since then, that you can add it to your control center, and now with the 16 series, you've got the camera control button. You can map the camera control button to open that instead of the camera app, which is a very huge convenience. But yeah, so like I use my phone as a CCTV video magnifier pretty much every day, often several times per day. Problem is, when I got my 16 Pro Max, I encountered a bug in the default magnifier camera mode, and by default it goes into the auto mode. So let me open up the Magnifier app here, and I will bring up all my controls. Let me turn voiceover on just so you can hear it.
Voiceover on. Magnifier. Viewfinder. Image.
And
Focus. Cameras. Button.
so
Camera menu.
cameras, you can hide, or you can show or hide a lot of different magnifier features. And so I'm going to go to camera here.
Camera lens. Auto. Button.
And I'm going to go to auto. You have auto, close up,
Image.
and front camera. So we'll turn voiceover off here.
Voiceover off.
And the problem that I was having, now I am in kind of a darkish area, but it's not bad. And this will perfectly illustrate my point, hopefully. So I'm in auto, and there's two separate bugs. I'm going to zoom in a ways, and I'm going to grab a little flyer that's on my desk. And, I put the camera, I put my phone a couple inches, just like I would hold a handheld magnifying glass or a handheld CCTV up to the paper. And it's, it's okay. It's a little blurry, but it's a little dark. Let me turn my flash on. Now let me look at the paper again. Much better. Okay, so that's pretty clear. Now the initial problem that I have, now this paper isn't so bad because the text is a ways away from the margin, but let's say that I was reading a letter or a book that had the text a little bit closer to the left edge. I'm reading along, and I go back to the left in order to read. Oh, and I have it landscape right now. Sorry for the sideways text, but you'll kind of you'll get an idea. So when I get to the edge, what would happen is it would blur. You see how it's already getting blurry on the right there? But then also, because it was on auto, the camera would fixate on something in my background. You see how it jumped? I'll move slowly to the left and watch. I'm not moving the paper at all. Eventually it will, like, it snaps, like it jumps away. And if your text is really close to the margin, you get the blurry text, as you saw. As I get close here, it got blurry, and then it would just chunk, if I pull the paper away, it would just pull it, and it was hard to read the first line, or the first part of a line. And there was a couple documents where literally the first couple lines or words I needed to read were on that line. Now, let me go open. So I found a workaround that worked until recently. Now I'm going to go into my camera, and I'm going to choose the close-up camera. And let's see if it does what I think it's going to do. So I'm gonna... Yeah, so look at how washed out that is. It's like, you can actually see text, which is more than I could like 5 minutes ago when I tried this before recording the video. But look at how bad that, like, it's almost like the flash is too bright. It's like you have a camera flash, and then you have literally a, like, spotlight. And I don't know if there's something different on the iPhone 16 Pro Max cameras where, like, the flash is, like, obscenely more powerful. And I've tried adjusting the brightness. I've tried adjusting the contrast, but literally you can't read anything. It's so washed out. Look at that. It's terrible. Let me switch it sideways again, just so you have more, like, I can't see that. And at first I thought it was, the camera for close-up was choosing the wrong camera. But now I almost think that it's something to do with the way either the camera, and it's more to do with the flash. Like I said, it's not just a flash, it's like a beacon that it's so powerful, it's washing everything out. And I know it's not the lighting. I know it's not too dark in here because I used to read in this level of lighting all the time. I've got a little bit of ambient light from my sliding door. I've got my computer monitor in front of me. I've got bright kind of computer tower lights. And watch, because let me put my first phone down here. Let me pull up my work phone here. And I've got the camera on it. I'm going to take a look at now on the right-hand phone that you see here. Look at how beautiful that looks. Now, I think this is on auto. But that is just, it's crisp, it's smooth. That flyer appears beautifully. If I go to the edge, there's literally no, and you notice like the margin actually to me, when I was holding it about the same distance away, the margin to the beginning of the text almost looks wider than it did when I was using my 16 Pro Max. So it's almost like the zoom level is different or something, but the clarity of it is great. Now let me go ahead and let me turn VoiceOver on.
VoiceOver on. Magnifier. Card controller. Minimize.
And
card controller. Half size. Filter scrubber. No filter. Filter scrubber. No card controller. Half size. Card
let's
controller. Full
go
size cameras. Button.
cameras.
Camera lock selected. Close up. Button.
Oh, that was
button.
close up. Wow. Huh. Okay, that even, okay, let me go back.
Cameras. Button. Camera close up. Button.
Close up.
Card.
I rest my case.
VoiceOver off.
So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to look at this paper one more time. That is the same piece of paper, the same lighting, the same distance away from my phone. Look at how nice and crisp that close-up view is on my 14 Pro Max. That's what's supposed to happen. Now let me go back to my other phone. Let's go back, look on the left side, and let's go ahead and look at the same piece of paper, same lighting, same distance, same piece of paper. I literally can barely make out there's any letters there at all. It looks like freaking garbage. You can't see it. It's so washed out. And it's like the same brightness level. I leave the contrast and the brightness at about 50%. Both phones are the same settings. So there's something going on. And interestingly, let me go ahead. You think this would be a lighting problem. And the reason that I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's a flash issue is because I was using this at work the other day, and I literally called Apple Accessibility. I called Apple Accessibility like a month or two ago, and they remoted into my phone so they could see it, and they said, "Oh, we'll pass it along." And I downloading the iOS 18 betas, hoping that one of these would fix it. And I went to call them when I was at work the other day, and the problem was, it actually appeared, it wasn't great, it was still a little blurrier than it should have been, but it was actually readable text. So I couldn't reproduce it on the second phone call when I called them a couple days ago. But I'm literally under a bright chandelier, and I have a kitchen light, I have a dining room light right here. It's perfectly light, and it still looks like hot garbage. Let me close the app, reopen it again, and let's see now that I am under better lighting. And now, interestingly, when I tried the same experiment before recording this video, and this is what it would look like at the office, kind of. Like, you see how it's still blurry? It's readable, but it's nowhere near as crisp as my 14 Pro Max. And let me double check to make sure that... Let me open up my camera and make sure.
Voiceover on. Magnify. The green button on a surface. Button. Cameras. Button. Oh.
Cameras.
Camera button. Selected. Close up. Button.
Yep, we're on close up. So, yes, it got better. But at the same time, when I did this exact same thing before recording the video, I closed the app and reopened it, and it still was that washed out, blurry picture, even when I was directly under my chandelier. So of course, now that I'm recording a video, now it's like, oh, well, at least I'll behave somewhat, and now you can at least read the text. Again, it's still nowhere near as crisp. If I go back and I put on my, let's put on my auto lens here. Sorry, I've got a bunch of stuff on my little freezer here, so you're just seeing, we're doing this ad hoc, man. We're just, doing this as it goes. But now, look at that, is actually quite a bit crisper. So there's something, and I have the flash on, of course. Again, that's also helping. So it almost seems to me, I don't know if it's a camera thing on the 16 Pro Max series. I don't know if it's a camera flash issue on the 16 Pro Max. Is the camera flash calibrated differently? Is it a lot brighter? Is the focus of it different so that it washes everything out? I don't know. But now I'm back in front of my computer again, and I don't have my flash on. So let me go ahead and do one more time. Let me switch you to close up. Let me turn the flash on, and let's see what it does when I go close to my... Yeah, look at this. Terrible. So it is partially a lighting thing, but it's something to do with either the camera or the flash. Now this is about this is probably about 10, 12 inches away. And, this is really all the bigger, I can't get too close because the closer I get, look at it, the closer I get, it gets blurry. And that does not happen in iOS 18 on my 14 Pro Max, my work phone. So look at how bad, like I'm moving it closer and it just looks like hot garbage. So the reason I wanted to record this and release this publicly is because, I will submit this to Apple, but I also wanted to show you, like a lot of people, they ask me about how do I get into beta testing? How do you do what you do? Like, how do you report feedback? What's all involved in troubleshooting? What's all involved in advocacy and consulting work? I did that video where I was showing you the Diablo 4 beta a couple of years ago, and I was, checking things out and reporting the little bugs that I found along the way so I could report them to Blizzard. This is kind of the same thing. It's not game related, but it is technology related. And recently I've seen some posts on AppleViz and other places around the net where there's some people, I'm not going to call out any names, but there are people who are literally just, your product is crap. Why, if you say that you're going to be about blind people, why don't you fix these bugs? And they're not constructive at all. They're rude. They're entitled. And that's not a way to get the job done. Again, I've been bashing my head against the wall for like a good 3 months or so on this, trying to figure out why on my brand new phone I got last year. Like I said, I had the little jumping issue and the blurring and jumping issue when I was on the auto mode. I had that since I got the phone. So my fix was, okay, let me switch it to close-up. And that worked beautifully until about iOS 18.3 or 4, somewhere in there. And then from that on, this is where I have this washed out, unreadable text. So I've tried this in a variety of lighting situations. I've used the same exact reading material, the same exact camera focus, like the brightness, the contrast. And, again, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. But let me make sure that I am in
Cameras button. Open camera. Camera lock selected. Close up. Button.
I'm in close up on my work phone.
Voiceover off.
I'm in the same low level lighting, and it's, they say, oh, well, you have to be in really bright lighting. No, you don't. I mean, yeah, you can't be in pitch black, but if I have my flash on, people go, like, I've used my phones in low lit restaurants. That's a major, or if I'm in the closet, I'm in a closet or a pantry looking for a box or a label, I need to read something. But like a low lit restaurant is an extremely common use case scenario for something like this. And look at this. I have the camera flash on, I'm in the close up, and I literally have, I just to exaggerate, I have my phone about 2 inches away from my phone, the paper about 2 inches away from my phone. And look at how clear that is. So clearly, there's something with the camera flash or what camera Magnifier is using. There's something with the 16 series. Now, I don't know anybody with an iPhone 16 or 16 Plus. The only couple people I know, they either have older phones or they have, 16 Pro Maxes. But that is the problem that I wanted to show you guys. So if you are low vision, and if you have an iPhone and use the Magnifier app, the one that's built in, leave a comment below, give it a shot for yourself, try reading, a piece of paper, a book, something, I would say 4 to 6 inches away, just holding it naturally the way you would hold a handheld CCTV or a handheld magnifier up to, hold your phone like that up to a piece of paper. And, try the auto and see if you get the jumpiness and the blurring when you get to the edge. And try the close-up view and see if you get this just horribly washed out, unreadable text, especially on a 16 series. But I'm curious if other people with older phones, 14s, 15s, pluses, pros, pro maxes, it's got to be something with the phone itself. It's got to be something with the way the camera works in the 16 or the 16 Pro series, or it's got to be something with the camera flash. Like I said, maybe the flash is, I don't know if it's like a different intensity or like a different radius. But there's something that's blowing out the image, even with the exact same screen brightness, the same contrast, the same lighting, the same piece of paper reading material. And, yes, I'm in a low lit area, but like you see how well my 14 Pro Max did. So clearly the room lighting, the ambient lighting is not the problem. So yeah, I'm going to release this. I know this has been kind of a rambling, kind of a live experiment. But again, I want to show people like this is the kind of thing that you have to do. Like if I understand wanting to check out the new whiz-bang features and new toys, new features in a beta, and just being able to play with it. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But if you, like I said, if you really want to be a beta tester, if you really want to provide meaningful feedback to a developer, this is the kind of stuff that you have to do. This is the kind of thing where you have to repeatedly try things. You have to experiment. You have to speculate. You have to, based on that speculation, like, oh, well, let's try it and see if...
A black button noting surface.
I had to turn voiceover on so my headset wouldn't die.
Voiceover off.
But that's the kind of thing that you have to do. That's kind of what's involved. In this case, it's Magnifier. But if I'm troubleshooting an app that's not accessible, or a game, or a piece of hardware, this is the kind of fiddling that you have to do, because the developers need this information to be able to reproduce and diagnose the problem. And if you are able to record, I found that these types of video recordings, or if you're doing something just with audio and voiceover, like if you can reproduce it and record an audio recording, those are the types of things that, again, are even more helpful in addition to a text description of the problem, because they can actually see it. So there you go, guys. That is my little, I don't even know what I'm going to call this video, but I'm probably going to put it under my tech support or troubleshooting video playlist, because again, I do want to share this with Apple. And again, leave a comment. Leave a comment below if you've tried this and have similar problems. I would especially be curious from other 16 Pro Max users if you are encountering similar problems when using the Magnifier app. And because it really sucks. Like, I either have to deal with a jumpy, blurry image in auto mode, or I have to hope that I don't get a purely unreadable image in close-up mode on my personal phone. And as much as I use the Magnifier app daily, sometimes several times a day, it has really impacted my work. It's impacted my life. My day job, I work with other blind and visually impaired customers, and I've recommended this app a lot because it's been super helpful and very convenient. I use it for my work. I use it for, other people use it for school. I use it for independent living tasks when I'm out traveling, or again, if I want to read something in a restaurant or whatever. It's an invaluable tool. So, yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced something similar. I will share this with Apple in the feedback app and Apple accessibility. And hopefully this will help remedy this thing sooner rather than later. It's got to be a camera or a flash thing. I don't know what they got to do, but please, Apple, make it work on my 16 Pro Max. Make the close-up mode work again the way it's supposed to. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. Give it a like if you did. Share it with others so we can get more feedback, more findings on this. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.